Hudson County View, live and uncut. I'm your host, or what you see is what you get, and what you don't is better yet, John R. Highness. And of course, today is Election Day, and we're going to talk about everything that's on the ballot until 8 p.m. So remember, first of all, if you get online between when the polls close, as long as you were online before 8 p.m., your vote still counts. So that's important, of course, and we're also going to talk about everything else. How do you find your polling location? How do you know what's on your ballot in your municipality, in your neighborhood? We're going to obviously also talk about what to do if there's a polling or an election issue and all that. And of course, who's actually on the ballot, right? Like who are we casting the votes for today? At the top of the ballot is the 8th District Congressional race, and that's Rob Menendez, who's the 8th District Democratic nominee. Of course, he's heavily favored, and he should probably win by over 50 points, I would say, pretty conservatively. And, you know, while the most of us in Hudson County are in the 8th District, the 9th District also has a small portion in Hudson, as does the 10th. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but it doesn't look like U.S. Reps Bill Pascrell or Donald Payne Jr. have anything to worry about today, either based on current projections. So having said that, we're also going to be talking about these Board of Education races. The big three are Bayonne, where there's 4 seats on the line, one one-year seat, 3 3-year seats. Hoboken, there's 3 3-year seats. In Jersey City, there's 3 3-year seats. And there's also one mayoral contest over in Harrison, which is actually a rematch from 2018. So we're going to talk about all that and maybe even a little bit more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Stevens Jersey City Ford Certified Parts and Service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Logistical things. So first of all, how do you find your polling location? So what you're going to do is you're going to go to voter.svrs.nj.gov/polling-place-search. So this is something that we're seeing pretty much everyone on the ballot repost. So this is really easy to find. I've reposted this a couple times myself. But just one more time, it's voter.svrs.nj.gov polling place dash search. So if you're unaware which locations you could use that one, all you have to do is type in your address and your zip code, and that will put you exactly where you need to go. Now, another thing is we've heard about a couple voter issues this morning. Obviously, it's rare you have an election that goes off without a hitch. So what you're going to do is if you have a problem, you're going to call 201-369-3470 and press 6 when prompted. And this is going to put you in touch with the superintendent of elections, and this will allow you to report your problem. Like there was a report that Public School 5 did not open on time, so obviously there's not really a heck of a lot they can do about that after the fact. But in a situation like that, if you're having any kind of issue at the polling location, you obviously want to reach out to that superintendent of elections as soon as possible so they can rectify the issue. So, having said with those two clerical notes, let's talk about the top of the ballot. Again, you got the district nominee, it's Rob Menendez. In the 8th district, I should say the 8th district Democratic congressional nominee, Rob Menendez. He won in the primary pretty easily, even though it was a three-way race. He got over 80% of the vote, which is pretty rare. Obviously, this wasn't a highly competitive affair. This doesn't look to be any different. There are a couple independents on the ballot, and there's, of course, a Republican nominee, that's Marcos Arroyo. But there's really not much to say here. I mean, Rob Menendez has the support of pretty much all the Democratic machines throughout the district, Hudson, Essex, and that's pretty much all you need when you're on the line here. And to his credit, he has been working hard. He has been doing a lot of events, and he has been doing quite a bit of voter outreach. So, that one's not really up for debate. And like I said earlier, U.S. Reps Bill Pascrell, Donald Payne Jr. not expected to have much trouble either. So, with that, let's finally move on to these school board races. So let's start in Bayonne. In Bayonne, we actually have 9 people running. That's the place that has the most candidates out of any school board race. So you have 2 4-person teams competing against each other for these open seats. And in that case, there's 1 one-year seat and 3 three-year terms up for grabs. So who is on whose team? So basically, you have Together We Can, that has trustee Hector Gonzalez, he's seeking the 1 year. And then you have Mary Jane Desmond, who's a former trustee, William Young, and Miriam Beche, and that's all part of, again, Together We Can. Now, Voices for Progress, you have Ali Hassan, Saverio Sambaggio, Angelique Jackson-Bell, Gina Irizarry, with Hassan running for the 1-year term. And Jabaz Almas is running independently. He's the only independent candidate in the race. So normally when you see 4 seats open, you usually have like a pretty spirited debate, a pretty spirited conversation around this election. And I'm just not seeing that this time around, which is a little bit surprising to me. But regardless of the fact, what I can say is that the Bayonne Teachers Union, as well as Mayor Jimmy Davis, has endorsed Voices for Progress in full. And that's a change of pace because in the past couple years he hasn't gotten involved. The school board is pretty much comprised of Davis opponents at this point. Obviously, he got elected to a 3rd term in May, and he's trying to make a bit of a comeback as far as the school board goes and try to get a little more say in what's going on in that 9-member body. On the other side, Together We Can, this is a slate that's been successful for the past few years. They pulled off a couple sweeps during the pandemic, and this is a slate that has the backing of some of the current trustees, which includes the board president, Maria Velato, and the vice president, Christopher Munoz. So when you have 4 seats, it's really hard to pull off a sweep historically, so I would be surprised if that happened today. I think a 2-2 or a 3-1 split either way.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility.
And with that, we're actually just going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hi, I'm Joyce Waterman, your Jersey City Council President. Do you know there is a misconception about the Jersey City tax bill. As the council president, I want it clear I'm only responsible for the city's budget. I have no authority over the Jersey City public school budget. None whatsoever. The last couple of years, the taxes went up due to the increase in the Jersey City Board of Ed budget. It has nothing to do with Jersey City. We need to come together and begin to make the Board of Ed accountable. Not only are our taxes unnecessarily high because of the increase in the school budget, but the United States Department of Education has determined that the state of New Jersey underfunded our district. Yes, we are underfunded. We, as residents, need to come together and raise our voice and ask the Board of Ed to be accountable and also ask the state to be accountable. I'm Joyce Waterman, and now you know.
Paid for by Jersey City. Make it better.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View live on Uncut, John Arhitis. So now we're going to talk a little bit about this Jersey City Board of Education race. As usual, there's quite a few candidates. We got 8. And once again, for the 4th year in a row, we have Change for Children challenging the Education Matters team, which is a team that's historically been backed by the Jersey City Education Association, which is, of course, the local branch of the NJEA. And we've seen them involved in this race. They've done quite a few mailers via their Super PAC arm, that's Garden State Forward. And the messaging there has been kind of interesting. They're talking about LaFrac and how one of their co-owners, Richard LaFrac, has a cozy relationship with former President Donald Trump. And, the narrative there seems to be that LaFrac wants to defund the schools, to cut school funding back. And meanwhile, on the other side, from Change for Children, and through their Super PAC, that is, of course, connected to LaFrac, that's Favour NJ, their message has been that, it's time for a change because we need fiscal responsibility. Obviously, the budget came with a tax increase this year and last year. And, it's a complex situation since 2018, ever since state funding was cut with that. More upset that their tax bill just came out and has another increase. And the fact that they just hit last week could have an impact on that. Of course, that remains to be seen what happens at the polls. So as you can see, the image we're using is Trustee Noemi Velasquez and Trustee Alexander Hamilton. The reason that I used that when I was talking about the race a couple months ago when the teams were announced, they were actually running mates on Change for Children 3 years ago. Now, you have Velasquez as part of Education Matters and Hamilton remaining as part of the Change for Children team. So when you consider that, and when you consider what's going on with the budget and the tax bill, I would say this is a relatively tepid affair compared to the past 3 years, and a little bit surprising. There's a lot at stake here. Now, granted, even if Change for Children were to sweep, you would still have a very comfortable teachers union because they would have still have the majority of the board. But nonetheless, it doesn't look like that's something that many people are concerned or considering at this point. So with that, let's just go over who's actually on the ballot. So we're going to just take a look at Change for Children. Hughes, Trustee Alexander Hamilton, as I just said, Kenny Reyes, and Doris Tony Irvin, who finished in 4th place last year. And then with Education Matters, as I also mentioned, Trustee Noemi Velasquez, Afaf Mohammed, and Christopher Tisdale. And there's 2 independents in this race, Isnal Sanad and Assad Nawaz. So as you guys know, we had that debate a couple weeks ago right here at Hudson Media Group, and 7 of the 8 candidates were able to join us, talking about fiscal responsibility, talking about what to do about tightening up this budget, making this process more transparent, having more public input, things of that nature. And, certainly there was some fireworks at times about, the PAC spending involved in this race and, the tax increases, so on and so forth. So this is also something that I think bears mentioning that, again, this is the fourth year that they're going against each other. Change for Children and Education Matters. In that time, 11 seats have been on the line, and Education Matters has won 9 of them. And they swept the 2 years during the pandemic. And, a lot of people say that they have a good shot of sweeping again. Though in my book, I think Hamilton has a really realistic chance of getting reelected. But, in the race like this, where there's really not a whole lot of voter enthusiasm, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it's really hard to call. But with that, we're actually just going to take another break, and then we're going to talk about the Hoboken Board of Ed when we get back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
This thing rips! Oh, it is so quick. There's a lot of punch packed into this Bronco Sport. It's got a ton of horsepower. I love it. All right, now we're getting hairy. Now we're getting the fun stuff. Yeah. I like how we can get over or around almost anything.
Yeah, I dig your ride. I super dig it. It's going to be a good day.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John Arhitis. So, again, as I mentioned on Twitter yesterday, I called it the unofficial main event of today. I mean, I think this is the most exciting race for most people that are really into the nitty-gritty politics of Hudson County, and specifically in this case, the Mile Square City, the Hoboken Board of Ed race. So just like Jersey City, this is an 8-person contest, and we have 2 slates and 2 independents, all seeking 3 unexpired terms that are 3 years apiece. So, as I'm sure most of you know, we have the Kids First team, which is Pavel Sokolov, and it is also Cindy Wiegand, and it's Donna Megan. And as far as leadership that listens goes, you got trustee Alex De La Torre. He's the only one seeking re-election on this thing. We have Leslie Norwood and Antonio Grata. And independently, we have Pat Waiters, who happens to be on top of the ballot. And we have John Madigan, who's a former trustee. So we saw, again, also similar to Jersey City, we saw 7 of these 8 candidates with the exception of Madigan, who unfortunately came down with a late bout of COVID at the debate at A.J. Demarest Middle School a couple weeks ago. And, we talked about partisan politics. We talked a little bit about expanding facilities. We talked a little bit about gun safety and quite a few other topics over the course of about an hour and 45 minutes. And that was Hudson County View in conjunction with The Pulse with Peter B. And this has been a very interesting affair. This is actually the first contested Hoboken Board of Education race since 2016, so 6 years. And, it's really the first time that we've seen two teams actually run a full-throated campaign that has tens of thousands of dollars. There's a texting operation. There's been heavy engagements on Reddit, on Facebook, on my website, on Twitter. And, you really see both teams are hitting it hard. They're in the streets. they're door knocking. You know, the Kids First team, of course, has that kind of infamous now truck that they used for the January 25th referendum, which helped get that vote no out. That was about a 2-to-1 victory to shoot down the referendum. And that really leads me to what are Hoboken residents voting on? Or in my opinion, it comes down to two things. Are you more offended by the fact that that referendum came on short notice and, you know, was rolled out very poorly? Or are you more offended by the fact that Republicans and unaffiliated candidates are trying to make their way onto the school board? So, you know, I think it's really that simple. And of course, it comes down to face-to-face voter contact and responses at the doors. You know, who's got the better voter lists? But again, like I just explained, this is a very complex and sophisticated campaign, I think, when you're talking about a Board of Education race. So, you know, some X factors to also consider. Not a ton of endorsements in this one compared to previous years. Again, this is the first really full-throated head-to-head challenge in a while. But you got Mayor Ravi Bala, you have 5th Ward Councilman Phil Cohen, Councilman at Large Joe Quintero, and Councilwoman at Large Emily Jabor, of course, all unofficially part of Team Bala, coming out and endorsing leadership that listens. And on the Kids First side, you have former 5th Ward Councilman Peter Cunningham, their highest profile endorsement. Though also of note, you got 1st Ward Councilman Mike DeFusco and 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher have done some letters to the editor and some email blasts being critical of LTL, you know, basically swinging the baseball bat at Kids First over, you know, these alleged or perceived Republican ties, specifically talking about Sokolov being involved with the Hoboken Republican Committee and with his 2 running mates to varying degrees coming out against face masks for children during the pandemic. So, you know, it's an interesting dichotomy. I think this is the one to watch today. And I think you have a good chance of there being a split ticket. While I mentioned earlier, you know, Madigan's a former trustee. He hasn't had the press and the exposure others have. You know, he didn't make it to the debate. I believe he only did one newspaper interview with the Hudson Reporter. But he does have a base. You know, how far that base expands, hard to say, really difficult to say in a nonpartisan race. But, you know, I think that's something you have to consider. You have to consider that Pat Waiters has been on the ballot, she says 15 times, definitely well over a decade. And she's run for various offices, council, mayor. I believe she even ran for county executive once. You know, she certainly has her base too, and I know she's been door knocking. And again, the 2 slates are putting forth, you know, a pretty sophisticated and strong effort. So, I mean, I would be really, really shocked if we saw a clean sweep in this one. So we're going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick. Built to defy expectations.
Bring 150 around front, please.
We designed the F-150 to be tough. And we delivered on towing and payload like you'd expect. We also made it smart, starting with an available hybrid powertrain. This engine also allows you to use your truck as a high wattage generator. It's the kind of capability that a truck owner's really never had before.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John Arhitis. As I mentioned at the top of the program, there's only one mayoral contest today, and that's actually over in West Hudson, over in Harrison. Now, this is a rematch from 2018, as I also noted, and you got incumbent James Fife taking on former councilman Anselmo Milan. So in that contest, Fife won by 299 votes, which obviously doesn't sound like a lot, but that was actually 13%. You know, this is not a town where you're going to see an extraordinary turnout historically. So if you could hit over 1,000 votes, your chances of winning are very good. So one thing that was highlighted a little over a week ago is that there's actually a federal lawsuit that's been working its way through the courts filed by Milad, and he's alleging that the nonprofit he ran, the Harrison Downtown Community Development Partnership, lost their space in the Municipal Senior Services Building after he decided to run for mayor against Fife in 2018. And he also claimed that 3 of his political allies were fired shortly after he announced his candidacy. So not completely unheard of in Hudson County, but certainly a little bit unusual by Harrison standards, I think is fair to say. And, you know, one excerpt that I noted was the actions of Mayor Fife were taken exclusively for political reasons. Harrison Development's office was closed with the excuse of false accusations of improper intentional conduct on part of the plaintiff. So, you know, some shots fired there. But this case is quite a ways along, and both of these men have taken part in depositions. And one part that was pointed out by the Fife campaign is that Milad said in his deposition that he's never been part of any disciplinary process. And it turns out an October 24, 2018 memo from Hudson County Department of Health and Human Services Director Doris Toon shows he was suspended for 90 days. And we saw some strong words from Phil Swabinski, who is Fife's spokesman in this one. And he says, lying under oath is a serious crime, and the last thing Harrison residents want is a mayor under investigation for perjury. And he went on to call for the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office to investigate this. They've also subsequently, probably about 3-4 days out, filed some ELEC complaints claiming that Milad has not done the proper filings for 2018 to 2022, though the Milad campaign has countered that they actually have filed everything they need to date. So, you know, I mean, look, West Hudson's a really tough place to call, even under the best circumstances. And I would just mention that last time we had one of these hotly contested West Hudson matchups, we saw Dina Grillo win the mayor's race from a couple years ago. And that was something that people thought was a distinct possibility, but I don't know how many people actually expected it. So, you know, look, this is one that's, again, probably not going to be a really blistering turnout, and it's going to be close. The other thing, though, that I think could be a difference maker here is that 3 of the 4 members that are on Fife's ticket ran last time. That's Jesus Arenga, Ellen Mendoza, and Jim Duran of Wards 1, 2, and 4. And Delphine Sarabando is also seeking re-election in Ward 3. That was Councilman Lawrence Bennett, who ran with Fife at 18, but he's actually still on the governing body. Harrison's a little different. Each ward has 2 council representatives, and they have a staggered schedule there. So, you know, I think that's worth noting. And just a couple quick side notes here before we call it a day. Guttenberg, Secaucus, and Kearney also have council and BOE races. Secaucus BOE is contested. You have 5 candidates seeking 3 open seats, while Kearney has 3 of their 4 council seats being contested. So we saw in the primary that Hudson County's voter turnout as a whole remained under 10%. I don't expect that number to change greatly. You know, if we hit something like 12 to 15, that would be about the range I'm expected. If it even was as low as 8 to 10, wouldn't shock me. But I guess all I could say to you before we call it a day is please go out and vote, regardless of what's on the ballot, regardless of where you live, how you feel about the candidates, if you've been following closely, not following at all. You know, of course, this is our democratic duty to elect our representatives. And, you know, I think it's just one of the most important things that the average citizen can do here. So, oh, and one more thing, I did see a complaint online that there's a couple polling locations that are asking for ID for the sake of convenience. Just know in New Jersey, as I'm sure probably everyone watching does, that that's not a requirement. So if somebody asks you for ID, you do not have to comply with that. You could just spell out your name, and that is supposed to be sufficient. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a great, happy election day. Everyone on the ballot, best of luck. We'll see you next week.